Right. So another very important area, you can say, right, or type of counseling, child and adolescent counseling. So these days, almost, all the school, I mean, school counseling is different again. Child counseling and adolescent counseling are the two important types of counselings which, because especially, children as well as adolescents, they are in a period of transition. So there is a possibility that they undergo many critical issues also. Now, why children? Children, this is not the first time that we are into child counseling. It's been going on for maybe, decades now in from pre-primary to, nursery to pre-primary to they always have, I mean, the best schools always, keep having their in different names. But now it is, particular position or role with some special skills, special, in fact, course or special qualification with a licensed, this thing, they are supposed to work for children. Same goes with adolescents also. And here, uh, especially, they have to deal with many critical issues. And especially, children, they undergo a lot of developmental changes also, especially when they are into these, not even elementary, in fact, nursery. So pre-1 and play schools to nursery to PP1 to PP2, something. All these are some kind of transition periods only. So away from parents or caretakers, they just, enter into school. That is again one critical transition period. Even they may be having their own developmental issues here, and sometimes children with some kind of impairment also. So children at different developmental periods, what I mean to say is, from early childhood to middle childhood to late childhood, right? As they enter into puberty, it becomes again after puberty adolescence, right? So during childhood also, it's a very vulnerable period, because until we think that, probably during elementary school they don't have many issues as such, but there are issues, and they are into, vulnerable periods due to not only, yes, academic, but more than academic, social, more than social, emotional issues also. And of course, parent child relationships, parent teacher relationships, and peer group relationships. So, other than, academics, in fact, quite a few children, they may be undergoing many academic issues also. It could be a burden to many children due to some other issues also. As I said, maybe, learning disabilities or other learning difficulties also. Other than disabilities, there could be many other difficulties also, right? So now adolescent is again the bridge between childhood and adulthood. The transition also takes place here also. The puberty changes. Many physiological changes takes place accordingly. Primary sexual and secondary sexual changes also takes place during adolescence, especially during puberty due to growth spurt. So it is a critical period because, and every time I wanted to add one thing over here, because, as the physical changes are taking place, there are changes due in their cognitive skills also, cognitive development, emotional and social development, along with moral development. So as the changes are taking place, there, with regard to brain, right, cognitive development here, brain, development, and other developments are taking place. As the motor development is taking place, it is very much connected to their cognitive as well as emotional and social. So you need to take the development in an integrated, aspect. You have to take that way. So it's not that you're going to only deal with the emotional issues, because it's all, in connection. The development is taking place in a very intricately interconnected way, so that you cannot simply confine your perspective only to the cognitive issue. No, it is all, in connection with each other, including the relationships, the kind of culture that they are coming from, and other demographical, aspects also we need to take into consideration. And same goes with adolescence. Adolescence, why I said it's still, critical period, because it's a kind of rapid fire developmental stage, and there is an issue with regard to their own identities, including sexual identity or orientation. And they have, again, the stages, maybe, according to Freud, maybe psychosexual, or Erikson psychosocial. But all these changes, as the theory said, definitely the changes do take place, and as the changes are taking place, there could be many influences, as well as, the conflicts also takes place. Okay. um Here, another, important thing is here, at each, development, as we talk about, each development, for example, physical changes, as I said. So growth spurt and all that, the changes take place, as well as, sexual and secondary sexual changes takes place. That impact would be on their emotional aspect here. And the cognitive changes that are very much related to their executive brain functioning and memory functioning has increased during adolescence. The way that they see the reason, and uh, how they refer to each thing, the reasoning, abstract thinking is also changing here. So they start taking things from a different perspective. Maybe they have developed their own identity, and the way they relate to things, how they used to take during childhood, and how they started, taking things in a different perspective from their own view, right? That changes. So that's why we keep saying that, adolescent now he has changed, he asks too many questions, he's asking for his own, kind of viewpoint, and he's radically, questioning the parents. It's not about questioning. He's only, seeking answers. Actually, he or she is trying to find answers from their, kind of, because their brain is working that way. Their cognitive development has, it has taken, that kind of change. That's what we need to understand, and that's what the psychologist, role is to first of all explore the change of possibilities, or the range of possibilities that must have taken in that child or an adolescent, and so that the child or an adolescent could be helped to resolve the issues as smoothly as possible. Here, the issues could be with their own self, or say, parents, or family, society, school, teacher, because these are the areas where they get connected to, right? This is exactly where the development takes place. So, better that they have a very clear picture about their, small world, but a very connective world, what I mean to say. And emotional changes, yes, the complex emotions are developing, besides, basic emotions, as they are developing. Something like hostility, fear, anxiety. Fear is a basic emotion, but something related to hostility, or some other complex emotions, mean, two, three emotions together that they undergo, that becomes a complex emotion. And they started exhibiting these complex emotions, and they do undergo the influence of emotions of their own, as well as, others emotions. So here, they need to build skills or competence with regard to understand their own emotions as well as others emotions, to have control over their negative emotions, to build positive emotions. All these are nothing but competencies, and that's exactly where the psychologist or the counselor's roles, comes into. And So here, that's what we are going to deal today. But why, this particular these two developmental periods are so very important, and how it becomes a very important stage for all the counselors to understand, because after all, the pillar of strength, for this entire world is, of course, children. That's the future generation, adolescents. That's the generation which we need to build with lot of honesty, with lot of responsibility and authenticity. And hence, whoever is planning to enter into this particular field, yes, they need to do some additional work, because they need to keep updating themselves with, what exactly are the new issues. Now, probably, media and various other issues have also entered into it, and definitely they're impacting not only their development physically, but psychologically, socially, everything is getting affected, and that could give rise to many new problems, many new challenges maybe we are still not aware of. So those who are entering into this particular field, they may be, doing their research very deeply into it with lot of responsibility and authenticity. So child counseling, as I said, it's a kind of, child therapy is also it is known as, and who are experiencing emotional, behavioral, and social difficulties. These children are to be supported and intervened. And the various kind of, treatments of children problem. So these are the focused, problems for the professionals here, right? And here, as I told you, like, the treatment cannot be viewed as something, which is confined to an adult, right? Children, because these are the vulnerable developmental stages issues also, right? And many a times, probably they need to take up some creative ways also to deal with problems. So what are the purposes here? Anxiety disorders, for example, children, for many issues, they can be anxious about, fearful, under fear, probably they undergo panic attacks too, and different phobias also. And all these probably need to be, first of all, understood. Then the strategies based on their severity of their problem, strategies are to be developed here, right? So here the psychologist or the counselor or the therapist is supposed to identify what exactly is triggering the problem, what is the root cause of these problems, and what should be the coping mechanisms are to be understood and helped also. And depression is a common problem here, and sometimes, it could be temporary, such kind of, swings here, mood swings, but even major depressions can also take place. Especially it brings in lot of changes here, interest, it loss of interest or self-esteem issues. In fact, because of many conflicts here, it actually hits directly upon their self-esteem and self-worth. uh, so naturally, it affects, especially when they are into depression, it affects the rest of the things entire, it leads to a kind of physical, emotional, and social numbness in the children. So developing positive mechanism is very, very important here. Well, problems could be many here, starting from child rearing practices to parent-child, relationships, parenting styles, and other issues related to school, teachers, peer group, or their own issues which they are not able to relate to properly, right? So here maybe if they're adults, many times, there is a possibility that, there could be some expression relating to that issue at some point or the other they can do. But children, they become so confused and they don't even know how to express the issue. So here it becomes very difficult for the psychologist or the counselor, therapist to understand where this particular problem is actually rooted or causing. that difficulty, right? So many a times it could be at time children who are not able to be attended, who are not getting attention at parent family, right? They always try to seek attention outside. But these are some issues. There could be real issues also, like for example ADHD children, right? So these are some other due to some kind of brain impairments or developmental issues. They themselves might be undergoing various problems here. That is another totally another story here. But what I'm talking about here is academic issues, probably parental issues, or sometimes lack of taking, caretakers, problems here, probably, all these things could be again reflecting on their personality, and it will definitely show its impact. In addition to poor academic performance, even their holistic development will also get affected, right? So, other, behavioral issues could be like hyperactivity, attention problems, or troublesome behaviors due to violence and defiance, impulsivity, then teaching, learning problems here, right? And lack of self-regulation. So all the children, even at the early childhood itself, even before that only, right? They are expected to regulate their emotions, and that's what is development actually. That's what is, even at the age of in these 12 months we call them as, right? So during that period itself, they're expected to learn their display rules with regard to emotions. If there is some kind of emotional dysregulation, that actually is indicating some problem, behavioral problem in the child. So many a times it could be due to the behavioral problem, or some problem with regard to the child, or sometimes it could be the failure of the parent also. Somewhere something is failing there. That's exactly what we need to understand. And it is again, trauma is another thing. And so here, whatever is it, neglected childhood, or witnessed violence, or yes, still vulnerable developmental period, they must have undergone some kind of sexual or physical abuse. So all these will leave a traumatic experience, and definitely that leads to certain unpleasant symptoms. And here they need to be again learned with some kind of resilience, or some kind of skills here to overcome that. And again, social issues could also be there as they enter into the school. Social anxieties, or probably not able to engage themselves properly in the school. Uh, and here, social skills are very important, like communications, or maybe to take the initiative. And many a times, even taking bullying also, how to respond to bullying, how to react to bullying. Instead of aggressive behavior, they repress it to such an extent that they become very aggressive at some point of time, they burst out. But instead, they should be learning to deal effectively with these things, right? So, and academic issues, as we all know, learning difficulties, SLD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia. Again, the impairment is in the brain, for example, Wernicke's area or Broca's area. So these things cannot be resolved completely if the brain is impaired there. So better that they are into remediation. But how do we do that? First, at a very young age, they are supposed to be identified with, and they are supposed to be remediated, like, rehabilitated. That is very important. Or ADHD, or some kind of attention issue, concentration problems, or performance anxiety, academic anxiety, exam fear, all these could be due to which, they're supposed to. Well, the advantages of the child counseling, emotional support and acknowledging their feelings and assisting them. Let me tell you one thing, with my own experience, children, once, they develop this trust in a very safe and secure environment, as they develop their trust, they'll be able to share or express their things better than any adult. This is, from the experience for almost, like 20 years now, because I did work as a child counselor as well as adolescent, and I did work in a school also. So I know with some, experience I can share. I wish I had more time, but now I can only say these things with lot of authenticity, I can tell you. So all that you need to do is to, offer them a very safe and non-judgmental environment. And coping skills, yes, they very honestly learn as you give them, space and time and skill, but you need to understand their range, where exactly the problem, to what extent, the severity of the problem. So from there you need to start it. And yes, fostering a positive self image and worth and all that, they should be fostered. And social skills development is also very important. Again, right? Communication, empathizing, and sustain the ability to maintain and sustain connections, right? Improving social interactions, all that. So adolescent counseling is again, uh, adolescent counseling is, according to American Counseling Association, ACA, it's a child-centered approach. So it focuses on, yes, emotional, social and psychological well-being, and the age according to WHO is 13 to 18 to 19 years actually. And most of the time seeking identity for their own self, the problem starts from here. And there could be other n number of, internal as well as external factors which could be leading to simple to complex issues to adolescence here, and not only that, a counselor must, help them in handling the change from being a child to becoming an adult, in fact. So adolescent is a kind of, bridge between the childhood and adulthood. So they are expected to reach somewhere by then. At least they should have a very clear idea about what they are, what are their strengths, what are their limitations. So many a times, confusion leads to identity diffusion or confusion, right? So the most, important thing, I mean, the purpose of this is, it's like, adolescence marks like beginning, uh, any, kind of, due to the emergence of mental health issues. I mean, what could be the mental health issues? Like even hormonal changes are also taking place here, right? Their endocrine system is also working, and sympathetic and parasympathetic. There should be some kind of homeostasis that is to be maintained. So here, if there are any hormonal imbalances also, that could also be one of the crucial point to be noted, key point to be noted here. So eating disorders, anxiety, substance abuse. So counselors use all the therapies, in fact, like CBT, or mostly the present, kind of mindfulness based techniques, right? So to relieve the symptoms here, as well as to help them with the coping skills also. Why? Because for their own, emotional well-being. And peer pressure, yes, they have a lot of social life. They're expected to maintain social relationships here. So in the process of maintaining peer group, they may undergo a lot of peer pressure also, because continuously they are subjected to this kind of peer pressure. So in the expectations to have the peer group, sometimes it may go haywire, right? So they end up identifying themselves. If they are, failing, they start identifying with some kind of chronically mentally imbalanced, groups also, or some kind of, substance abuse already those who are into. So unknowingly or being unaware, they end up identifying themselves, with such groups also. So that's what is the vulnerability here. I want you people to understand what made them identify themselves with the wrong group. What made them, like almost forced them to. So that's exactly what is we need to understand, right? So developing assertiveness skills is another very important point. And next important is, yeah, academic stress also. So they're expected to reach a particular point based on parents' expectations or teachers or school, deadlines and all that. So there could be stress. Maybe, some children undergo that, and some children probably mediocre, and few, like toppers, they don't have, but they might be having some other issues. Like, so here, if they have any such obligations, better that they undergo some kind of, standardized testing, and what is that they have, what is that they are lacking in. So all these, preparations to be, done, and they should be assisted to manage their stress and develop some good habits or time management techniques, etc., etc., address their issues, anxiety issues or whatever with regard to performance, right? Then parent child relationship, I know you have an idea about parenting style. So it has to improve the communication between parent and child, very important. And substance, all these, challenges to adolescence, including substance abuse to early sex or various, other issues, media, network exposure to different things which are impacting their balanced state of mind. So all these are challenges, like dangerous behaviors that it leads to. So all these are to be addressed. So these are the purposes. So advantages is naturally emotional support, and whatever that they are undergoing is to be validated in a non-judgmental way. And a particular, kind of trustworthy that, surrounding or environment is to be built, and then only they are going to accept themselves as they are, and they start, building themselves. And coping skills like problem solving skills, mood control or stress management, and all these are improving skills is very important. And next is to, personal development and exploring themselves. First of all, by being self aware, they start developing from there. So self awareness it starts with, then improved interpersonal relationships, because effective communication needs to healthy relationships, and hence, conflicts and difficulties are to be addressed and understood so that they can become more communicative. Well, the next, important topic is, yes, school counseling. I know you all are very much uh, where am I going? Sorry. Oh, I think that is missing in my this thing. School, yeah. So school counseling is it's not simply about academics, okay? There are a number of issues. It's a specialized field, as we all know, and many schools, slowly they are realizing, but still there are many other schools who still have not acknowledged the role of counselor. They must support children who are exposed to different difficulties, especially in the globalization period, what all that they are undergoing, too much of exposure to too many things, and lot of expectations, or lot of, it could be not, I'm not simply talking from an institution, academic institutions point of view, but yes, that is also a problem. The kind of, loaded curriculums and other issues also, maybe both the parents are working, and maybe nuclear families, and because of the, travel issues in the morning itself, and probably the deadlines, and mostly confined to just, studies and not much, other life. right? So all these issues probably it makes their academic life, it's a kind of complex amalgamation of many other things, in fact, right? So it's a school counseling is a specialized discipline, but the school counselor needs to become imbibed in school counselor needs to imbibe himself with every other counseling field. I believe all the types they should be having an idea about. So it is, definitely new, something new. And as I told, they have to play multiple roles here. They should be efficient in everything. Everything means yes, everything. Child, adolescent, again, you name it, you are into it. You name it. Okay, you are into it. So they need to perform and bring a kind of, uniformity all the time. They need to play these multiple roles and integrate various other connections like management, teachers, parents, children themselves. So everybody should be connected through counselor with the continuous programs, and then educating or creating an awareness among all these people. Then only it is going to work, especially for a school counselor. Okay. And school counselors, as I said, always holistic work, and they have to merge with not in addition to indigenous practices what that are popular or favorite or useful here in India, but they need to merge themselves with the Western practices too, and parenting skills and intervention according to the modern Indian family system. That is also important here. And that then only it is going to promote the healthy relationships, not only with the family but friends, support groups. So continuously programs related to not school issues, academic development, skills development, with regard to, say, as simple as time management, as critical as goal setting, and as vulnerable as family relations, friends, support groups, or some kind of domestic violence, because it's like helping those children who have become victims of domestic violence, or maybe some kind of natural disorders. What are epidemics, how to really help themselves, how to really be supportive in their family, and how to really become dedicated even through online classes. See, any new issue that comes should become a program for you to you must think in those lines only, how to educate my children here at school, because new issue, new problem, new understanding, new skills. So continuously they need to work for that only. So here, American School Counselor Association, ASCA, so what it says is the students must improve their academic, social, emotional, vocational development through this, school counseling. So it's a subfield of education only. So it's a kind of collaborative approach, like, all these people are to be included, as I said. And they should be trained professionals, yes, masters in counseling first of all, then licensed or certified by their own respective states also. And they must be providing services not only at the individual level or group level, but at classroom guidance sessions. అంటే నేను ఒక చిన్న విషయం చెప్తాను. For example, they need to take these special classes. Even at times you should be ready to walk in. If someone is not there, maybe a teacher is not there, you just use that time also. Like, I used to go, in fact, in schools as well as my colleges also, I used to do that many a times. It's the same, and it didn't change. And they should be very much aware of, or have loads of information with regard to not only consultation with the parents and teachers, definitely provides them with lot of information. And they must use their counseling techniques in addition to all this to resolve the problems related to students, parents, teachers, management, general school environment, educational materials also. So all these together you need to have this evidence based treatment for schools. So what are the six goals here? Yes, to fulfill the lives, that's the main motto, right? Especially with the learning disabled children, because again, I'll speak about my experience only, because along with child psychology anyway, you need to have this special training in SLD also. I'm not stating that you should be doing special education for this, but definitely having a good training in rehabilitation with regard to special learning disabilities, right? Specific learning disabilities. Because first of all, identifying at the early age will, and my experience says that in every class, in a normal, like class, you will get at least 3 to 4 such children. So now probably, teachers have become, and the management, including parents, they are aware. But before, some 10 years back, 10, not 10 years, some 15 years back, it was really, very bad. So parents as well as teachers were not very much aware of, what exactly was dyslexia about. So it's like, each of not just me, I'm saying there are many n number of people who have been, working as counselors. Definitely, we all felt that there is a particular stigma, not only by uh, parents, teachers, but now it has changed, completely changed. But there was a time where they used to carry this stigma to send the children. But I really appreciate the management where I have worked, because, he's a very super doctor, experienced doctor. uh, so he had an idea, and his, academy, I was really fortunate, because I could really gain so much experience. So I want you people to definitely start working with those educational institutions, so that you get to know, or you can contribute something back to the society. So try to, work on those lines. And assisting the students with challenges and adjustment problems are many, actually emotional adjustment, social psychological adjustment. So school counselors can come up with these, sometimes it could be a general group programs, or individual, I mean, depending upon the severity or type of challenge also. But ultimately it is to promote a very, very positive school life, to provide them with a positive school life. And school wide intervention programs are very important. Sometimes you need to call the parents, sometimes, teachers, and then management, and training programs, continuous, constantly they should be working and addressing the mental health. That's the, final thing, whether be it, address the needs of student, class, group, society. I mean, that's exactly what your contribution to the society is, right? And there is a difference between counselor and psychologist, school counselor and school psychologist. There are many similarities also. Counselor is in to deal with the daily task, and, supporting and all that. Psychologist is to take up the responsibility, definitely academically, but also psychological issues or emotional issues here. Still, at deeper level, then they can go, kind of duty. It's like standard test, administration of standard test, then some kind of scorings to be done, and psychoeducational assessments are to be done on students, especially when it comes to specific services related to special education, right? Here, the child's specially, individualized education program, it is called as for disabled children, at different levels here, severity of the problem. So school psychologist is expected to develop an IEP here as per the unique problem of that particular child, and every year they need to be apprised about it, because the child who qualify must be provided with this education. And when he meets these unique needs, uh, it, they have to develop as per the child's development. They have to develop, the further, curriculum the next week. I mean, it all goes, from child to child, because each child's, problem is unique here. So it's very difficult. I mean, very challenging and interesting also here. and this IEP is introduced in 1975. I mean, don't become a victim of many child centers these days. There are kind of 700, 800, there the number is very big in Hyderabad, but I don't know how many of them are very honest. You might think that I sound very bold and blunt when it comes to many organizations, because their honesty, dedication, and the most important, the objectives and how many professionals are working in an organization, that matters a lot. Because we being academicians as well as professionals, it becomes our responsibility to at least create an awareness among you people who are genuinely interested to do something in this field. So don't become victims by joining any organization just like that. First you try to observe that organization, what is the objectives of that particular management, how dedicatedly they are working for that. So everything matters here. So when you count on that, probably some 10 to 15 is also a big number for that. So first I want you people to do some real research into it and then start joining, no problem. But first you equip yourself with all this, right? And IEP is totally covered under Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and I have my own apprehension with regard to whether you can join as psychologists, but definitely as school counselors you can equip yourself with some kind of skills little more. So but that is the difference. I want you people to understand the difference first, right? So this is the IEP is the cornerstone of a child's special education program. So classroom teachers, special ed team members, counselors or psychologists or behavior specialists, district representatives. So all these become the IEP team. Okay, and the law that protects this IEP, the parents will have that right to question IEP process also. Because yearly, I mean, continuously evaluations will also be, taking place. If the parent asks also, you have to go with the evaluations of that. So, as much as a school psychologist may wish to spend more time directly with students, the school counselor will likely be providing individual, small group, class counseling sessions to students. I think I know what is the difference between. Now I think you people know the difference between a school psychologist and school counselor, and you are perfectly equipped with school counseling now, so you can be school counselors. Okay, I mean, provided you have special education or some extra all qualifications, then you can consider being that. But for now, this particular course, yes, these are the kind of limitations you should take. Then what are the objectives of school counseling? Yes, like the general well-being, academic success, along with personal growth, and then collaborative programs for school students, parents, teachers, and who are all there, management, even teaching and non-teaching staff, everyone comes into it, right? So for academic achievement and success, study skills, management, time management, strategy development, test taking, or goal setting, all these comes. And social and emotional, it's like helping them to express their emotions, or helping them to gain self awareness, or developing peer group connections and adults and all that, stress management techniques, etc., etc., helping themselves with bullying or prevention of bullying only, because there are a lot of problems because of that. And career exploration, yeah, this is another important. Career assessments as they reach to a particular stage during adolescence, from the very beginning itself they can be helped to focus on certain lines. Okay, some kind of guidance or direction can be given. So some educational decisions, they can be educated with which particular career path is good for them, and how to really remain prepared for career development, and what is goal planning, decision making, job search, etc., etc. And personality development programs, it never ends actually. It never ends. Actually, that's what you should be concentrating more and more on. So self-esteem, resilience, coping skills, etc., etc. And most important is, college applications and what is the exact, field that suits them, and how education, loan comes, financial aids, and what are scholarships about. I'm very sorry, even they come to, degree, and they have just no knowledge about, is it the right career for us? And, this is what I generally observe children even at the undergrad stage also. And what are the areas here? Definitely academic challenges, study skills deficit, learning disabilities, motivation issues, academic support issues, and all. Social and emotional issues, yeah, depression, bullying, peer dispute, anxiety, trauma issues, career, and all that. Actually, they lack awareness. So, what are about career pathways and counselors? Career counselor, school counselor needs to become a very, very efficient career counselor too. And behavioral problems, yes, aggressive behaviors, lack of control, emotional, dysregulation. So all these becomes, behavioral issues, and many other behavioral issues, including substance abuse to early sex to early pregnancy to, I know, what are the challenges with regard to, adolescence. It sounds little bit, kind of alarming, but yes, it is there. So psychoeducation, sexual education, very important. So make a note of all these challenges. So what are the roles and responsibilities of the school counselor? Now helping the students choose the right courses, create, individualized, because student to student they are very unique. So develop them individualized academic plans and set them some kind of realistic educational goals here, right? Then personal and social assistance, individual and group counseling is very important. Many someone could be totally worthless, they could be feeling due to bullying or peer pressure. Help them with all that personal and social assistance. Career counseling, as I already told you, college admissions, scholarships, vocational trainings too, right? And school counselors, sometimes, it's like, they are taught to recognize and respond to what could be the indicators of distress here. Right? Sometimes they may be into depression due to some issues here, or anxiety could be leading to distress here, or some kind of suicide ideations due to some issues here, right? And collaboration and consultation with whom again? Teachers, parents, other stakeholders like, management, and all these are the responsibility of school counselors, right? So they have to work together with all the educators so that they can design a very well versed program and implement their interventions or programs for the support of students, not only academic but social and emotional growth. So I think, what kind of resource building that you can really, work for. And counselors, how effective they need to be, and how communicative that they need to be, how interactive and collaborative they need to be, not only with parents, but they even parents education is also important here. So all the resources are to be addressed so that the child's, specific needs are fulfilled ultimately. Okay. So the nature of school consisting, suggests two roles of a school counselor. It seems, the counseling role, the counselor works with students on matters concerning emotional problems, self understanding, and all that. And the consulting role is also there. And here the counselor works with teachers, parents, administrators, etc., etc., where the students are involved, indirectly. So student understanding and student management of teachers, parents, administrator, that is also, the consulting roles that counselor needs to play. And directly is with, again, understanding their emotional issues, understanding their academic issues, social problems, or career issues. All this also becomes very, very important. that only makes, a counselor very, very effective and efficient counselor. So with this, I come to end of this course one program. So yeah, now it's open for, yeah, queries. You can ask me.
Ma'am, this is Shobha.
Yeah, Shobha,
Is,
tell.
is there any institute offering full-time diploma in family and couple counseling?
Uh, Maybe not from psychology. I have, one particular some family counseling, but that is from, sociology background. I don't know how far it helps you really.
Okay.
But counseling skills, yeah, you can just, first of all, depend on this particular course and then see. I still stick to the same thing, work under someone.
Okay.
So, Shobha, it's time to contribute something back to the society, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, as you become confident, you start working, and that really helps. So, try to learn skills, working under someone, and try to think about your PhD in future, right?
Okay, ma'am.
అట్లా పెద్ద పెద్ద ఆశయాలు పెట్టుకోండి మంచిగా ఉంటది. ఓకే.
Oh,
యా, చెప్పండి.
because I heard about something related to court, the
ఫ్యామిలీ ఫ్యామిలీ
family
కౌన్సిల్.
courts. There was a course in Nampally, but nowadays it is not available. So, if any similar course available where they bring the couples who have filed for divorces and all,
యా 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 యా,
so the students are given like exposure
ట్రూ
directly.
ట్రూ ట్రూ.
I heard about it, so I wanted
Yeah.
some similar course.
Family counseling, of course, it is from sociology background. Maybe you can just meet me personally sometime, then I can just relate to you, like where exactly this particular course is available.
Okay,
TMV, but that is from sociology background, little bit sociology background,
okay,
family counseling. So I cannot really guarantee that it is going to provide what you are expecting actually.
okay.
Okay? Yeah, yeah.
Can I have your number, ma'am?
Uh, that you can ask the in charge, okay?
HOD.
They are responsible, so I cannot really take that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Sorry
Thank you.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah, no problem.
yes,
Thank you, ma'am.
yes, yeah.
Thank
Madam, I'm Lawrence here.
Yeah, Lawrence, Chappan.
Madam, 2 points, ma'am. One is you said our course currently, which we are going through, basically qualifies or makes us a child counselors or school counselors to be precise.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. You are learning about the theories of counseling. I mean, it's a course, properly developed course as such. So you have, you are learning about skills also, right?
okay.
So, but the qualified and all that, you need to speak to the, management. But definitely, this is what you are learning,
I
right?
was coming to
About
that.
counseling. Yeah, this is the course, like, 1 year course, I believe, right?
I am
Yeah,
coming to that.
but
As a counselor,
it's all about, your uh, quality of work tomorrow. You need to really look into your own self, right? That's something which you need to really reflect upon your own self, whether you
okay.
have the capability to, or should I be working under someone to learn things. So that you need to ask yourself, because you're learning everything, all your commitment and dedication towards, learning the subject. All, that's exactly what matters. But again, I understood what you're trying to say or what you're trying to ask. I understand your what should I say, interest in working also, but you have to, gain the skills also at the same time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Now, my major question here was, ma'am, the question one is, uh, under the laws, are we supposed to take a license for counseling?
yes, yes, yes.
So,
There is, kind of,
how do we approach towards the license part? Can you just share some notes on this in the next classes and so on?
yeah, next, I think probably you can talk these things to the in charge. Okay. That would be better, because Yeah, if you ask me about, my course, TMV child soccer, I can be able to, say many things about it. But this you better talk to the in charge course. But otherwise, yeah, it's a beautiful course with everything about counseling. I really appreciate you all are doing this. Yeah,
So another one, ma'am.
yeah, yeah.
I have taken this course basically as because it's my personal interest that I work with psychiatric patients and medical patients. So that is my strong points in my social work studies earlier.
Oh,
Now,
good, good. Hmm.
yeah, I have also had a stint with the IMH for some time. Now,
Oh.
can I basically look at continuing with this course, which I will anyways, or
So,
take
do you
another
think
course
it
solo?
really helped you? Do you think it gave you a lot of clarity with regard to, counseling? What is counseling now?
Yeah, it gives me, yes, I want to continue this part, but
Hmm.
do I need to take any other course which helps me also into the psychiatric counseling part of it? Because I'm more interested in that, especially with the
The
psychiatric
clinical,
patients.
clinical would be, still probably you should do your research to do some kind of, clinical course
There are
also.
openings, but the problem is since I come under the open category, I don't
Hmm.
feel I can get through all this because recently there was an announcement of only 4 seats. I don't stand
Hmm.
that in
Hmm.
many
Hmm.
of the places. There are
Yeah,
only
it
two
all
seats.
depends upon the criteria, right?
Yeah, because the moment they see me
So,
as OC, for me is an outcast. They throw me out.
well, that I can't speak. Yeah, that I
I
can't
understand
speak.
because that is a place where I've lost everywhere now because of this one.
Hmm.
So, is there any institution which takes an open category wherein we can basically study and
You
pursue?
can just, yeah,
Uh,
you can just find it out.
okay,
Actually, if not, in this state, maybe outside the state.
if
If
everywhere
any
the
other,
same.
institution is offering, then you can definitely do that. Consider, maybe NIMHANS. I mean, it all depends, like,
If they are
how,
the same,
yeah,
ma'am.
your priority and their criteria and your priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe in some other institutions also you can consider, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Finally, last
Yeah.
one, to get more light on this particular stream of studies.
Yes. Yes.
There any
Yes.
way? Is there any way that I can meet you?
See,
Because
it
I understand that
one thing,
to
students.
get
Yeah.
proper
Sorry.
guidance. And
Yeah. So Lawrence and other students also. Why, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
yes, yes, I understand.
I understood your interest. I understood your commitment towards, something like this profession. It's very noble, I'm telling you.
Yes,
And you also understood, what exactly when I'm stating that it's a noble profession.
yes, ma'am.
And every, kind of human being is very unique here. And
Yes,
learning something, it never ends in this particular field. Actually, in
true,
any field, it never ends, right?
true,
We are continuous, students. We have to keep learning, especially in this particular field. Yes, that learning and, educating ourselves, it never ends. It
true,
never
ma'am.
ends. Yeah. So epidemic mundu unna problems ki, I think you understand that, there are so many new
Yeah,
issues now. So
yes, ma'am.
again, you need to do your research. Again, you need to have your own, kind of what all, that in depth, research, and then explore the strategies, right? And they should be useful to the people again.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's always, something new. Who has
Yes,
expected, all the children to attend all the online classes, and the impact? I mean, there are so many advantages, but there are many, disadvantages too,
disadvantage. Yes, yes, yes,
right?
ma'am.
So how are we going to, deal with them? How are we going to, help the parents, teachers, most important, the children,
Yes, ma'am.
right? It's again, kind of a challenge now.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it's ever educating. It is ever learners that you need to become, ever,
Yes,
researchers. Lot of research is important in this particular field. I hope you
yes,
understood. But
yes, yes,
the
ma'am.
basic, characteristics, basic, ethics and fundamentals and all the theories that we have discussed for the past 12, days, that never change.
True, true.
So you have to keep yourself equipped so thoroughly with all these things, and yes, go ahead. But then,
Okay.
yeah, keep learning. That's what I always say. I think by now you must have understood what exactly I'm trying to say, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm very happy that I've taken these classes. I hope you people must have learned something, and I hope you are satisfied with my classes. And I thoroughly, enjoyed these classes. So I wish you, all the best. Now,
Hello, ma'am.
okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Ma'am,
ma'am, a
I
Yes.
am.
small question from my side. I am
Thank you.
Tirupati,
Okay, Chappandi.
retired from coalfield. I want to become a motivational speaker.
Oh,
Will
I
you please
coach.
suggest? Yeah. I would like to go for
Very good, very good.
conducting
Yeah.
motivation classes, particularly for rural area students.
Oh,
Will you
excellent.
please
Okay.
suggest me any other course to complete?
అంటే మోటివేషనల్ స్పీకర్ కావడానికి ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఉండాలి, మాట్లాడాలన్న మోటివేషన్ ఉండాలి, కమ్యూనికేషన్ స్కిల్స్ అవన్నీ మీకు ఉన్నాయి అనుకుంటున్నాను నేను. సో జస్ట్ గో హెడ్, యూ కెన్ ఆల్వేస్ బికమ్ ఎ మోటివేషనల్ స్పీకర్. చేయండి మీకు
Ma'am,
ఆ ఇంట్రెస్ట్. యా.
అంటే
I'm
ఇంకేమైనా
sorry, time is
స్పెషలైజేషన్
running up
చేయాల్సిందంటారా?
actually. One more minute is there, by then it may disconnect. Ma'am, and one more thing, if I want to meet you personally, which place can I come to you so that I can meet you directly rather than taking your phone
Oh,
number?
actually, maybe you can speak to the course in charge there, but otherwise I am
Oh,
at, TMV. So, you can always, speak to the course in charge also. Okay?
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I'm sorry for
yeah,
previous actually.
yes, yeah. Definitely, you can, be in touch with me, all of you. If you have any doubts also, you can through your course in charge, Dr. Narsimul Garu. So you can be in touch with me also, no problem. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, and we have a course also.